Picture this: you travel 2000 kilometers to stand before the Himalayas, the sun is setting, the air is silent, the river is glowing gold. An eagle dives into the water, and right behind you, someone is blasting Honey Singh on a speaker, shirtless, recording a reel. This is not just annoying, it's a psychological mystery. Now, why do some people enter silent, beautiful, almost sacred spaces and behave as if they're in a wedding sangeet? And the bigger question is, why don't disapproving looks, like obvious irritation, register at all in these people? It's easy to say Indians don't have civic sense, but that's a lazy answer. Because here's the strange contradiction: the same people who behave loudly in public, they keep their homes spotless, they speak softly to elders, and they follow rules in offices. So, what changes? Why is our public behavior so different from our private behavior? Let's unpack what's really happening. And it's not just bad manners, it's attention, it's survival, and of course, the ego has something to do with it. I once saw something in Himachal that made this very clear. I'd gone there with a couple of friends, and there was a quiet river. Pristine air, no noise. Suddenly, an eagle dived into the water to catch a fish. It felt unreal, as if time had expanded to let us experience it fully. Almost like a Nat Geo documentary unfolding in real life. This kind of moment makes you stop thinking and talking. But the group next to us, a bunch of boys from a town in Maharashtra, they didn't even bother to watch. They were too busy pushing each other into the water for a video. And some of them, of course, were trying to take a photo of the eagle. Now, they were not bad people, they were just locked into a different mode of attention. And that's when it hit me. This is not about manners, it's about what we pay attention to. Because if the eagle is not in the selfie, then there's no eagle. Here's the uncomfortable truth: it's a clash between two completely different ways of experiencing the world. Some people enter a place and ask, what does this mean? Others enter and ask, how do I look here? The emphasis being on themselves. That single difference itself is a lot, and the modern smartphone has made this worse. We're living in the most performative era in human history. Travel is no longer just travel. Every moment is a reel, a story, some sort of digital proof. It's evidence that you went somewhere, you had fun, or that you're living life. What becomes important? Not the place, but the performance. The mountain becomes a background for your photos. The river becomes a stage. And the entire trip becomes content for nothing but an Instagram page. We've slowly replaced that mystical feeling of awe with validation. We don't go to the amazing mountains to feel insignificant and forget our daily petty problems anymore. We go to the mountains to make our lives look big, to make ourselves look superior. Now let's go deeper. In India, attention is scarce. Think about daily life. To get noticed, you often have to speak louder or push forward or assert yourself or claim space in some way. Because if you're quiet, you get ignored. And if you are loud, you get noticed. So over time, we learn something powerful. Loudness means that you're here and it'll ensure you get what you want. This is not rudeness, it's basically conditioning. In crowded systems, the quiet person disappears. And it's the survival of the fittest, right? So we train ourselves to be expressive, to be visible, and to take up space. And this habit does not switch off when we travel, it follows us into public places. Now, add another layer: people in groups, especially young men in groups, behave very differently from individuals. In groups, loudness helps people bond. Rule breaking can show your confidence. And there's a lot of attention seeking generally that happens in groups. No one wants to be the quiet one because quiet can look like awkward, boring, even weak. So the group escalates. One person plays music, another starts dancing, another guy takes the camera and starts to film. And suddenly the entire place becomes a stage, a competition to be the loudest. Not because they want to ruin the moment, but because they're performing for each other. There's another deeper layer to this. Have you noticed how Indian homes are usually cared for and very clean? But the streets outside often is not. There's a very deep psychology at play here. To Indians, inside the house equals mine. Outside the house equals not mine. For centuries, we lived inside tight inner circles: family, community, village. We protected what belonged to us. But public spaces were controlled by kings and government officials and colonial rulers. They were never emotionally ours. So the habit of protecting land or space never really formed. When something belongs to everyone, it belongs to no one. Circling back to how some people behave in beautiful natural spaces, there's also a human side to the loud, brash display. A lot of people traveling today are doing it for the first time in their family's history. They finally have the money, the mobility, and the freedom. But they don't yet have outdoor etiquette. So they use the only script they know, which is the wedding script or the celebration script. At weddings, you're loud, you dance, and you record everything. So when they travel, they carry the same energy into nature. But in nature and in places that have scenic beauty, it requires a completely different script. That script says observe, be quiet, and don't disturb. And millions of people are learning this difference only just now. So, the final question, is this hopeless? Not really. Look at the Delhi metro. People stand in line, people lower their voices, they follow rules, which means civic sense isn't missing, it's situational. We adapt when spaces demand it. Next time you're in a beautiful place, try something simple. Put your phone away for a few minutes. Don't record, don't perform, don't announce, just stand there. Because moments like that eagle diving into the river, they can happen all the time, but they only exist for the people who are paying attention. And if we can't be quiet before something that beautiful, what exactly are we listening to instead?